And welcome to another episode of Big Apple Hockey. I am your host for today, as Marc is not with us for some obvious personal reasons. You know, our thoughts go out to Marc and his family right now with everything that's going on. So we got the ship for you, buddy. We'll take care of everything in the meantime. But I am your host for today, John Flakowski. I'll be the one manning the boards. And with me, as you can see, I have none other than the fourth period's Anthony LaRocco, our Islanders guy who is on. He's constantly on the lookout. You should see our group chat with me, Anthony, and Marc, and it's literally Anthony just breaking trade after trade. I swear this guy must have a trigger finger on Friedman's, Dreger's, Johnston's, and whoever else's Twitters. Yeah. So Anthony has done an excellent job with keeping all three of us up to date. But yeah, so what are your thoughts so far?
Was the trade deadline today or is it Friday? That was an interesting 40 minutes to an hour there with everything breaking down the way it did. But hopefully, as Marc's praying, there's a lot left for Friday. But obviously, there's going to be many trades between tonight and into tomorrow, and hopefully there's stuff left for Friday. So very interesting to the start to the day. And, the first trade that kind of kicked us off here was Vladimir, at least today, was Vladimir Tarasenko being sent to the Florida Panthers. And, man, the Panthers are just getting scarier by adding Tank. So I thought that was a good move, but at the end of the day, I think he held the cards where he decided where he wanted to go. But how about your Rangers acquiring Alexander Wenberg? I mean, that's been in the cards for the last day and a half now, but they shot their first bow here in the trade deadline season. And, he's a good third line center. Guy to give you about 14, 15 goals a year. Plays the game with some speed. He's not the best in the circle, but I think he's your prototypical third line center. I think he's going to help the team out a lot.
Well, I was going to say
a little less.
Here is the A block. We jumped right into it without even going into anything. And again, that's sponsored by Seat Geek. I'm sorry, I didn't realize that it plays. Marc usually does that. So if I mess up on anything, it's because I'm not experienced with that part of it. Marc's gaffes are just usually Marc just being a gaff machine, but that's another story. So, jumping right into the A block, which is sponsored by Seat Geek, by the way. Anthony has mentioned as talking about trades. We're going to jump right into them, and we'll talk about. Well, you know what? Real quick before we do that, let's just talk about the Rangers and the Islanders, and we'll talk about their weeks. So the Rangers go 1-1-1 in their last three games leading up to the trade deadline. Controversial shootout loss in Toronto. A loss against Florida where questionable officiating. Let's just say that. I have some choice words for what went on in that game, but we'll just leave it as questionable officiating at best there. And they get a win before that, coming back and beating Columbus to get a little revenge for snapping their 10-game win streak. So from what I saw, they had some habits in that game that kind of came back to bite them in the next two games a little bit. The slow starts really weren't as bad. I thought they actually started both of those games pretty well. They gained the lead in both of those games, and they played well early on. But again, it's 60 minutes of hockey that you need to play to be able to beat the real tough teams, the real true cup contenders. And there wasn't 60 minutes of hockey in any of these games. It's becoming a trend. Hopefully the moves that they're going to make will be able to help address this, but this is something that's gotta be corrected before the trade, not only before the trade deadline, but before the end of the season. They've got to make sure that these habits are dead, absolutely dead. You can't go into the playoffs just having brain farts where you don't show up for 10, 20 minutes at a time in a game. So, Toronto and Florida, I thought those were two pretty well-played games, just with some questionable mistakes. There are some guys who need to be better. Jacob Trouba did not have a good game against either of those teams. He looked like he was exposed. Keandre Miller played 2 of his better games this season against both of those teams, which I was actually pleasantly surprised about. Ryan Lindgren looks like he's kind of banged up, which is nothing new, but it's definitely not helping this team right now. So if he needs to rest a game, maybe he should think about that. And the overall scoring, we're still talking about Mika Zibanejad and his lack on 5-on-5 goals. That line is not doing anything at 5-on-5. Chris Kreider gets a power play goal. Great. The fans will come out to defend him in droves over that power play goal. But what is this guy doing at 5-on-5? What is those two doing at 5-on-5 in general? For me, it's you're not going anywhere if those two don't produce at 5-on-5. So I assume you're seeing a lot of the same things I am. I'll let you sound off on them. I agree with that.
Yeah, that I I agree with that comment. I actually was going to start with Zibanejad at 5-on-5. He's got to be better there. I mean, it's great to have a guy that you can rely on the power play that's going to put up points, but for the Rangers to go the distance, he's got to go 5-on-5. And the game against Florida to me was interesting because I mean, right now the Panthers are kind of like the measuring stick, and see where the Rangers kind of compare to them. And honestly, I thought they were in the game. The determining factor was that Lomberg floater that Shesterkin let up. He's been so good in the month of February. He's really bounced back. But that goal in that situation, you have to stop it. But other than that, I thought they actually played a pretty good game. I didn't think the officiating was great either. But now we're going in a situation now where the Rangers just added Wenberg. And I think they have another move or so in them, which I think so. They're still kind of incomplete. I think they're going to get a little better in the next couple of days. But right now you have to, because right now Florida is loading up, and for me, I know anything can happen once the playoffs start. But the Panthers just look like a wagon right now. I mean, they're cruising over everybody. They handled the Devils easily. And now they're just so deep with the addition of Tarasenko. So the Rangers responding with another move will help them go up against them should they happen to meet in the playoffs at some point. But, overall, over the last 3 games, a little bit of a mixed bag. Yeah, Trouba needs to be better defensively. They need to get some more production of 5v5 with some of their better players like Zibanejad. But I do like the addition of Wenberg. I think he's going to help stabilize the third line for sure.
I agree there. We're going to move on to the Islanders, though, because we've got a lot to talk about in terms of trades and trade rumors and everything. So we're going to make both the Ranger and Islander segments here pretty quick. Moving on to the New York Islanders across town, if you will. They went 4 straight over some pretty damn good teams here, Anthony. Dallas, Detroit, Boston, St. Louis, teams that are either all in a playoff spot right now. I think all 4 of them are, with the exception of St. Louis. St. Louis still a wild card too? So,
St. Louis, Nashville's wild card too.
Okay, so St. Louis is right there. If anything, they're still, you would say that technically a contender, if you will. So it's still a really good team that they beat. So 4 points out of a playoff spot with 2 games in hand on both Philadelphia and Tampa Bay after that. The Islanders went from looking almost dead in the water a couple of weeks back to now looking like they have a real good chance of making it. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. After these 4 wins, their playoff chances actually went up to 60%, which surprised it was that high. But look, they're putting pressure right now on Philly, Tampa Bay, and Detroit. They're 4 points behind all 3 of them. And as you see here, 2 games in hand on Philly and Tampa Bay. And right now, I mean, I think what we all kind of said this, Patrick Waugh, was going to take some time for him to really put his stamp on the team and get them playing consistently the way he wants them to play. And you're starting to see that. And one thing I give him huge kudos for, something that Lane Lambert couldn't do, he pushed the right buttons with putting Nelson up with Horvat and Barzal. That line has been really good since they've been put together. Maybe thin them out a little bit with the rest of their lines, kind of loading up with the top line. But they've been real good. And honestly, Kyle Palmieri on the second line, his natural hat trick, he scored again the other night. He's giving them some nice secondary scoring too, so that certainly helps. So this is a situation where I think the guys in the room believe now. They're close enough where I think they could really see a path to the playoffs. And right now, Phil, they got a great opportunity. 4 points behind those teams, and their next couple of games are against San Jose, Anaheim, Buffalo, Ottawa. Those are all teams they should and could beat. LA is the one team in there in the mix on this road trip they got to play. It's going to be a tough out, but they got a real chance here, and especially with Philly. Nick Sealer is put on. They just re-signed him, but now he's on IR. Drysdale's out. Ristolainen's out, so their defense is real thin. The Flyers don't appear to be changing the course, meaning that it's really not anticipated they're going to buy over the next 2 days. So if they stand pat with some of the injuries they have and the Islanders are coming at them fast. And obviously it's good too to have 2 paths to the playoffs, because not only can they catch Philly, but as you see here, also only 4 points behind Tampa and Detroit. So things are certainly interesting now, and I'm curious to see what Lou does here in the next 2 days. I really am.
Yeah. I mean, that was what I was literally going to say, ask you next, was if we were seeing the culmination of the team finally buying in and getting on board with Patrick Roy's system, because it looks like they are playing a lot better. And yeah, Evan's absolutely right about this. Yeah. They annihilated Boston. And for me, they were the far better team in the Detroit game and the St. Louis games too. Yeah. I thought they won those games very convincingly. The only game that I thought where it was really up in the air for me was the Dallas game. And Dallas is a tough team. They have one of the best rosters, top to bottom overall. So, I mean, kudos to the Islanders for getting that win in overtime, because that's a tough team to beat. The Rangers beat them, but that is a tough team. And it took Igor Shesterkin the last time, after getting killed by them the previous time. It took Igor Shesterkin turning into 21-22 Igor Shesterkin again to beat them. So Dallas is a very, very good team. So they should be very happy with those 4 wins. And from what I'm seeing a confident group that realizes that they have the ability to actually make a run and get that playoff spot. And if that team gets to the playoff spot and Ilya Sorokin starts to get hot and starts to regain some of the confidence, a la his best buddy across the street in Igor Shesterkin, then you don't know what the Islanders could do, because they could be a real wild card. They could be a real X factor if that goaltending gets hot. So good team to have. Let's see what Lou Lamoriello does in the next 2 days, because that's really going to determine how much faith that organization is showing up at the top and the players on the ice, and Patrick Roy. Yeah, they could make some moves. Could they go force another, give up another first round pick for someone like Frank Petrano, who would come in and who would help them not only at even strength in 5-on-5, but would help them on the power play? Yeah, and that would be a move that I can tell you right now, most Ranger fans would not want to see the Islanders make.
Yeah, I mean, he's a good goal scorer, and you know what? I'm okay with Lou trading a first, but it's got to be for a guy like him, under team control, signed. I don't believe he should be trading a first for a rental at this point. But with Scott Mayfield on LTIR now, they have some room to make a move, especially if a team retains a portion of the contract, like we're seeing a lot happen now. That gives him many options to really look at. So I'm curious to see in which direction he goes. And with Lou, I'm not going to lie to you. Anybody who says they know what he's going to do is they don't. No one knows what he's doing. So I can't really. I mean, I can guess on what he might be thinking, but honestly, we'll find out. But I do think he has a lot of irons in the fire here.
And we're going to move on from our A block, and we are going to run a quick message from DraftKings, so this way that we can do a little bar talk, because I know you guys are all wanting to talk about the trades that have been done today. So let's get that quick message from DraftKings, and then we'll go into bar talk, and then we'll do trade talk.
Hockey fans light the lamp this winter with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. New customers can bet just $5 pregame moneyline on any NHL team to win their game and get $150 in free bets if they do. If that wasn't enough excitement, you can turn small bets into bigger payouts with same-game parlays. Combine multiple bets like which team will win, how many goals will be scored, and more for your shot at an even bigger payout. Download the DraftKings Sports app now. Use promo code THPN. Bet $5 on any NHL team to win their game and get $150 in free bets if they do. Only at the DraftKings Sportsbook with code THPN.
Shot. This is the easiest I've ever to answer.
I'm going to say beer. I can't even begin to describe.
I'm actually going to go crazy. I'm going to buy everybody around on this one.
And welcome back. We are about to do Big Apple Hockey's bar talk. So Marc is usually the one who loves to read off our bar talk. So we gauge our confidence here in NHL topics by our choice of drink. Play along with us in the comments, whether you want to buy a beer, shot, or a round, depending on how confident you are. I'm waiting for Evan to put up his usual intro. Yeah, there it is. Sick. Layup talk.
Yeah.
Layup talk. So Marc usually serves our daily dose of layups in here. And as you can see, Big Apple Hockey trucker hats and shirts are now available. Click the link below. So with this one, this is our trade deadline bar talk because March 8th, 2 days from today, is the trade deadline. And a bunch of players, I can't even use this one anymore. Oh, no, never mind. I read it wrong. My apologies. So I'll go to the first one, and it's about the New York Rangers. The New York Rangers will need to acquire more than Alexander Wenberg to come out of the East. Anthony, what are you thinking here?
I mean, listen, they're a really good team even before the Wenberg trade, and he makes them better. But I'm going to go round. I mean, you see Florida loading up. Boston's probably going to pull off some sort of move to make themselves better. Toronto's going to get in the mix here. So the Rangers have the cap space to add to, just under $3 million. So that gives them more than plenty enough room to make another move, especially with, getting retention again on another deal. I think they could still use another wing, maybe a little bit of a goal scorer. Your old friend Pavel Buchnevich is out there. Frank Cirelli said before the Blues are willing to eat up, half retention to kind of, increase their return a little bit. But I think there's another move for Chris Drury to make out there, and I think he will. So I'm going to go round on this one.
Marc, if you were here, I'd just tell you to get the damn gift.
There you go.
It's a layup. It's absolutely, yeah. Who's the hack that got taken? Who came up with this question? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what Anthony said about Marc in the actual clip. So
yeah,
backboard got taken down.
That was me.
Rangers going hard for Jake Guentzel, supposedly. I mean, I know that they've shown interest, but yeah, they're going to need more than that. They're going to need a lot more than Alexander Wenberg. You're going to need a first line right winger, whether it's Buchnevich, whether it's Vatrano, whether it's Guentzel. You're going to need something. I honestly, the all-in move is Guentzel. And I said on Twitter a while ago that I have a feeling that this year could be one of those years where they make an unpopular move that people might question to go all in, truly all in. And to me, the guy that really fits that is Jake Guentzel. So if that's what they're doing, then by all means, great. If not, then I wonder what Drury's plan B is at that point. But we're going to move on from this one, and we're going to talk about the Islanders for a second here. The Islanders are more likely to catch Philadelphia for third in the Metro rather than Tampa for a wild card spot. And I will just start. I'm going to take this one myself to start, Anthony. But this is not a layup. I think this is actually a very good question. Mark, you did a good job. Very good. We'll give you the golf.
No, this is me again.
Not serving a layup there. Very good, Mark. But I think this is a very interesting question. You talked about it before, saying that they have multiple routes to get to the playoffs, and it's actually better for them. I agree. I couldn't agree more with this. The crazy part is that they just dealt away one of their better defensemen for Ryan Johansson. And for me, I think they just got worse by doing that. I do. And I think this benefits the Islanders. So I'm going to buy a round on this because I think that they do. I think it's more likely that they catch Philadelphia than Tampa, because I think Tampa is going to go pull that trigger on that Noah Hannafin deal. And it's going to make it a lot harder for the Islanders to catch Tampa than Philadelphia.
I'm going to go round as well here. I think, as you stated, Philly's a little banged up on D. They traded some pieces away in Scott Walker. They're like I said, they're probably not going to be buyers here and add pieces. Daniel Briere wants to stay the course. I mean, this year right here is like house money. They weren't expecting to be in the spot they are. They're not going to mortgage the future just to get in. I think he's going, like I said, he's going to stay the course here. And Tampa Bay may add a guy like Noah Hannafin, which will make it tougher for the Islanders to catch Tampa Bay. We know what I will say, which is good. Tampa Bay plays the Flyers on Saturday, so as long as it's not a 3-point game and the Islanders win, they're gaining points. So either way, no matter what the outcome is, they're going to gain on one of these teams as long as the Islanders take care of their own business, and that's a really good thing.
Absolutely.
But yeah, for me, I would say they're more likely to catch Philly than Tampa. And then also, don't forget Detroit. They're also the same amount of points away from Detroit too. But I'm gonna go with the Flyers here. So I'm gonna go around.
And we're in agreement on that. We can, I guess. Well, I'm not gonna really use the sweep gift here because Mark's not here. But going to the other part of the metro area, the Devils should trade Tyler Toffoli. And I'll let you start this one.
So Tom Fitzgerald, when he made the coaching change the other day, he was asked, and he specifically said that he's not shopping Tyler Toffoli. And while that may be true, he's not shopping him. They're certainly getting calls on him. And at this point, we talked about it the other day, that the Devils aren't making the playoffs. They're cooked. They lost 3 in a row. They lost the 2 games out west, and then they lost to Florida again the other night. They're still looking for a goalie, and it's not impossible that he still adds one in the next 2 days, but I don't think they're making the playoffs. But he said he wants to keep Tyler Toffoli for next year and going forward, and I get that he's a good player. However, Tyler Toffoli's having a good year. If they're getting a lot of calls on him and they're getting offers, I think it would be silly for the Devils to keep him at this point. I get it. They expect to bounce back and be good again next year. And in the perfect world, you want him on the roster. But I mean, if you're getting like tons of teams calling and, maybe even getting an offer to first round pick or, multiple seconds or whatever you may have the case may be, I think you got to do it. So I'm not going to go round, but I'm going to go beer on this one.
Ooh, I really thought you were going to go with a round there. Because for me, layup. How do you not deal this guy with the season that he's having and the direction your team has gone in? You're not getting Dougie Hamilton back unless you make the playoffs. And that's looking more unlikely by the night. Your goaltending is terrible. Terrible. Vitek Vanacek just got placed on IR. So now your goaltending is Nico Dawes and Akira Schmid. And not that Vanacek was any good to begin with because he was terrible. And Devil fans have been calling for his head for quite some time now. But you lose. And then your move that you make is Curtis McDermott. Tell me that that's not a direct response to Matt Rempe. Tell me that that's not a direct response to that. Because what is Curtis McDermott doing for this team? Like, I really want to know what Fitzgerald's thinking there, because you've got Marino, Siegenthaler, Miller, Smith, Ball, Luke Hughes, Simone Nemec. Seven defensemen, and then you have 2 extras in Nick DeSimone and Curtis McDermott. Like, why are you bringing Curtis McDermott? Is not shutting down anybody defensively. So other than a deterrent for someone like Matt Rempe, then I don't see why the hell they made that trade. It makes no sense to me. If you're going to make that trade, that tells me that you're not serious about making the playoffs. And if you're not serious about making the playoffs, sell the guy that's having a great year that you could get a whole bunch of assets for.
Yep.
Like, I really don't understand this. He's a UFA at the end of the year. If he wants to come back, he'll re-sign with you. I don't know what Fitzgerald's doing, but if I'm a Devils fan, Buzz, your girlfriend, woof at that. and the idea of not trading to Foley. So I imagine, and I would hope, if I'm a Devils fan, I would hope that this is just window dressing from Fitzgerald, because he wants to just have teams call in and up the ante for Toffoli, and just kind of play the positioning game with them. So I don't see how you can not trade him. But we'll move on from Tyler Toffoli and the Devils. With Vegas getting Anthony Mantha and the Oilers getting Adam Henrique, the Canucks are the favorites to land Jake Guentzel. Anthony, I'll let you take that one first.
You heard him tied to Vegas because they had Mark Stone on LTIR. So, Vegas is always tied to the big fish. They always find a way to get it to make it happen. And the Oilers were too. But now after getting Henrique, even after the retention, I think they only have like $300,000 in cap space. So I don't know how they would make that happen anymore. You heard the Hurricanes in the mix for Guentzel, the Rangers, and obviously the Vancouver Canucks. There was the report yesterday, which kind of made everyone open their eyes, like really? But and that report was, in case you missed it, that the Canucks were considering acquiring Guentzel and then flipping Elias Lindholm to Boston, as it's just not working out with Lindholm in Vancouver, whether it be it's just not a good fit or he doesn't want to sign an extension. It seems like they want to now pivot and acquire Guentzel, and to do that, they may have to move Elias Lindholm. But for me, I'm going to go Beer, just because, like I said, there are other teams involved here, the Hurricanes, the Rangers. You may have some other contenders lurking in the shadows that we don't know about. But I'll tell you this, if the Vancouver Canucks got Jake Guentzel, I mean, look out, because that's already a team that has a prolific offense, adding a guy that can score 40 goals, especially if they pair him with Elias Pettersson. That would be an incredible coup by Vancouver. But I'm going to go Beer, just because I think there are some other serious, legitimate, contenders that are in the mix here.
Yeah, I'm joining you on that. And for the reason you just said, if Vancouver gets Jake Guentzel and they can take Ilya Mikheyev off that line with him and replace him with Jake Guentzel, the Vancouver Canucks instantly become a Stanley Cup favorite. And absolutely the favorite to come out of the West. That's the move that puts them up there with Colorado right now, in my opinion. And they may have to go make that move, because this is one of those wide open years where there's no super team, and it doesn't look like there's anybody you can really say, they would just run the table without a shadow of a doubt, like a Boston last year or Tampa in 2019. There's not that team that scares you like that. So if Jim Rutherford, who is in Vancouver, gets his old pal Jake Guentzel, because remember, there's a connection there. They were in Pittsburgh together.
Yes, there is.
That could definitely put them over the top. Even though Patrick Allvin is the general manager, and he's doing a pretty good job at that, Jim Rutherford's in the shadows. He's in the back, and he's definitely in Allvin's ear. So, we will move on from that one. And I this one I'm guessing may be old, but the Vegas Golden Knights need to make a big splash. I I mean, they did make a pretty big splash with Anthony Mantha. So here's where I get confused a little bit. By big splash, like let's define big splash. Would Anthony Mantha fit that? Because if that's the case, then Anthony Mantha has already happened. But if by big splash we're talking about somehow getting Lindholm from Vancouver if they get Guentzel or Jake Guentzel himself.
Yeah.
And
let's call it that.
Let's call it that. Okay. I don't know. I don't necessarily agree. I'm going to go beer here then because I think this team still as is good enough to win the cup once their guys get back because Stone and Eichel and those guys, they're going to be back for the playoffs. They're doing the same thing Tampa did, and they're taking advantage of the cap situation and the LTIR. And you know what? I'm not even going to get mad because every team can do it. And Vegas and Tampa are the two teams that have taken advantage of it. So if nobody else wants to take advantage of it, you don't get mad. Don't hate the player, hate the game. That's basically what it comes down to. And I think once Vegas is healthy, then they're as good as any team in the league. But the problem is they're not healthy right now. So I'm going to say
Eichel actually returned. He returned on the 4th.
Oh, he returned on the 4th.
So he's back. Yeah, so he's back. I'm going to go beer because they are going to get Marc Stone back for the playoffs. But however, there's something to be said. I mean, right now they're tied with LA for 3rd, but technically because of the tiebreaker, Vegas is actually in a wild card spot right now, which is really, unlike them. But with Colorado making some splashes today, Vancouver already got Lindholm. They're going to probably make another move. So a lot of the top teams in the West are loading up, and even though they did get Mantha and they are going to get Stone back, I feel like Vegas just can't help themselves from being Vegas, and that they're going to try to make another move to ensure that they don't finish in a wild card spot and they overtake LA. So I don't think they need to, but I think Kelly McCrimmon's always looking out to see how he can make his team better. So I'll go beer here.
Yeah, I'm with you on that as well. So we're going to move on from the Vegas Golden Knights to the Central Division. Colorado Avalanche will win the Central Division. You know what? I want to say round right now. It's screw it. I'm going to say round. This team is so good right now after those moves. You go and get Casey Middlestat to shore up your number 2 center spot. That's a huge deal. And they dealt a guy that was likely on his way out that has regressed a little bit in Bowen Byram. I still think can be a tremendous defenseman. But it seems like his path was blocked there with guys like Makar and Taves and so on in Colorado. So I do think that that's a really good trade for both teams. Both teams are going to benefit big time from it. It shored up the one area that they really needed help in. And you're getting Gabriel Landeskog back and Valerie Nichushkin's back, and it looks like we're gonna have to play. We're gonna have to do an Alexa and play "The Boys Are Back" by Dropkick Murphys because they're looking for trouble and they're looking for a cup right now. So I want to see what your thoughts are, but I'm gonna buy around on this.
Well, I'm hopping on that train because I'm going around too. They trail the Stars by 4 points. They trail the Stars by 4 points for first. You have Winnipeg in between them. But like you said, they just solidified a big need by getting Casey Middlestat. Sean Walker's a solid second pair defenseman that moves the puck well. And for me, Philip, what's scary is they're not done. They still have $3 million of cap space to play with at the deadline, which means they could acquire a player that makes $6 million and get 50% salary retention and still be able to fit them in. And that's a scary thing because the Avalanche, like I said, they could still add further from what they already did today. So, yeah, sure, you can make the case that Dallas is going to try to get better, and Winnipeg. I think he's just joking around. I
Yeah, I was
think
about to say,
Winnipeg.
what are you, Nicky
Yeah.
Rangers, Matt, over there? That guy?
So I think Winnipeg and Dallas are going to make moves too, but Colorado already made some big moves, and they still have money to do more. And that's if I'm Dallas and Winnipeg, I'm not exactly happy about that proposition. So yeah, round.
Yeah. I figured, Matt. I wanted to mess with you just a little bit there. I know. Yeah, but I've just pointed that one out before too. Freeman has tweeted that Vegas is in the Hannafin talks.
See,
so that
there you go. They always find a way.
They find a. This
they
team
always find a way.
They don't care about assets. They don't all in. Cup. You know what? If they want to become the next dynasty and win 3 in a row, I mean, good for them. I mean, it just shows you that.
Yeah.
And this should be the message for Atlanta and any other expansion team that comes in. Look at what you can do in 6 years if you're aggressive and you make the right moves and you have good, smart, knowledgeable hockey leadership at the top of your organization. So, and Matt said he's getting confident about the Rangers getting Guentzel. We'll talk more about a lot of that in a bit here. Just have a couple more, or one more rather, to finish up. And this one, just a general NHL one here. Connor McDavid will win the Art Ross Trophy. Anthony, what are you thinking?
So he's 6 points shy of McKinnon. He's got 99. McKinnon and Kucherov got 105. I mean, he's just on. He's on another level. I mean, we all know this. We all talked about him. And it's not taking away from McKinnon and Kucherov too, because they're fabulous hockey players. But I mean, when McDavid really turns it on, there's really no one stopping him. You know what? I'm going to be bold. I'm going to say round. I'm going to say he overtakes Kucherov and McKinnon, and he wins the Art Ross. I just think he's on another level. I mean, the fact that he has as many points as he did and he missed a little bit of time. Yeah. Round.
My God. So Connor McDavid has probably the best season we've ever seen from a player not named Gretzky or Lemieux last year. He starts this season hurt with a coach that they're all clearly checked out on. And he's just under a point per game for the first time, probably since the very start of his NHL career, since the first month of his NHL career, that he's not a point per game or better. And Kucherov is having a season in which he's on pace for 140 points, and he's like 20-something points, almost 30 points ahead of McDavid. And what does McDavid do? I am the best player in the world. Let me reintroduce myself. My name is Connor. He pulls a Jay-Z, comes back, and he's only 6 points back of McDavid, of McKinnon and Kucherov. And he's played 4 less games than Kucherov and 5 less games than McKinnon. He is unreal. He is going to go down as one of the top 5 players of all time.
Yep.
Book it. I don't care what anybody says. He 28 points in his last 12 games. 28 points. And not only that, but they just added Adam Henrique at center. I don't think they're moving Warren Fogle unless they have a bigger move to go get another right winger somehow. I don't think they're moving Warren Fogle because you talked about the cap. The cap is a big problem. Yes, they don't have a lot of cap space left. But Connor McDavid is like a trade deadline acquisition in his own, scoring almost 30 points in his last 12 games. This is stupid. This is not realistic. This is video game level. This is something like I would do playing NHL 24 or something like that. This is, I don't even know what other way to describe this. But you know what? I'm doing it. I don't care. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I'm going to go bold. This guy's going to win. He's going to win it. He's going to win it. I don't care. Because he's Connor McDavid. He's the best player in the world. And he's the best player in terms of pure talent that I've ever seen. He's going to do it. Telling you he's going to do it.
Yeah.
And Draisaitl is going to pick his game up in the process. Because these two, tell you what, they won't admit it, but they have a friendly little competition going to see which one could score the most. And I think that's what drives the two of them to score as much as they do. So I'll tell you right now, yeah, I know a guy who said that Jack Hughes was the best player in the league when Connor McDavid was hurt. There were a lot of people that were calling for Jack Hughes to win the MVP when he was scoring 2 points per game earlier on in the year. I definitely think Connor McDavid got healthy. He got tired of Jay Woodcroft. And then his old friend from juniors, Chris Knobloch, former Rangers assistant and Hartford Wolfpack head coach, comes in and just took off. Absolutely blew the doors off the league again, like he does. So, but we are done here with bar talk. Let's get into some trade talk and recap some of the trades that have happened today. So the first one we'll talk about is with the hometown team here. The New York Rangers acquire Alexander Wenberg, 50% retained from the Seattle Kraken, for a 2024 second-round pick and a 2025 fourth-round pick. Now, this is not going to be the sexy move that gets everybody excited and gets everybody jumping for joy and all that other, whatever expression you want to use to describe getting super excited about a major trade. What this is a solid move that comes in and brings in a third-line center that gives you offense, that gives you good, solid defense, that can kill penalties, has playoff experience, and can play, drive, and facilitate on a line, especially if he's put with, let's just say, Will Cooley and Capo Caco, because those two need a guy who can make plays. And I don't get this. Why would anybody hate this move? They didn't give up a first-round pick to get him. I could see you hating that move then at that point. I mean, would I have wanted to give up a third-round pick for him? Sure. But a second-round pick when they didn't have, any third-round picks or anything like that, I get it. I understand it. Yes, it's a fine move. John Radigan saying a poor man's Andrew Kopp. Think a little different, if you ask me. I think Alexander Wenberg might be a little better defensively. And I think Andrew Kopp's a little better of a goal scorer. But I get why people would make that comparison. And yeah, they gave up a lot for Kopp 2 years ago, who people thought was a similar level player. And the fans loved it. So this is not bad at all. JE, it's a great move. They got better. Listen, I agree with a lot of you guys and girls in here. I really do. I don't think this is a bad move at all. Anthony, you touched a little bit on it. You can go ahead and take the floor here.
Well, first, there's 248 of you watching with us right now, so we really appreciate that.
Yes, please
we
like,
really
share,
love
Thank
to
you.
see it. Yep, absolutely. And don't forget, for any of you that are new, we always do our Wednesday show at 5:30. Normally, we have another man with us, Marc Williams, our leader. He is unfortunately out. And then we will be doing our trade deadline special Friday. Not sure what time we're going on yet. I guess we'll let the action dictate that, but make sure to tune in on Friday because we'll bring you great coverage. As for this move, Phil, yeah, I said it before. I think he's a real solid third line center. And you know what I kind of equate it to, and I know they're different kind of players, but when the Islanders added JG Pageau, they needed a third line center desperately, someone that could play in all situations, be defensively responsible, and add in some goal scoring. And that's what I think Wenberg is going to do for the Rangers. So yeah, I think it's a good move for the Ranger fans who say, yeah, it's not a sexy move, or they're just like, who's this guy? But no, he's a solid player. He's going to help out your bottom six. And again, you got to also remember that I think there's probably more coming for the Rangers in the next 2 days. But as Phil said, we both agreed on this. Yeah, perfect world. I wouldn't want to give up a second for him, but again, the Rangers didn't have a third this year, so I think that played a role in it, and the fact that the Kraken retained 50%. I mean, you really had to give up the second round pick, but overall, I like the move for the Rangers, and again, there's probably going to be more coming at some point.
Yeah, I do think that there is a move for a first-line right winger. I obviously, that's the move that they need to make at this point. I think they may make another depth move on top of that. I wonder if, and I know that some fans are not going to like this move. I know Evan did not want to hear this name, but Scott Lawton, I wonder if that's somebody the Rangers would inquire on. I think it would help kill penalties, grit, fourth-line center. I think he'd be an upgrade over Barclay Goodrow, but I know that they're not going to let Barclay
And I think Lawton would have been more expensive than Wenberg, too. From what the reports, the Flyers were saying they wanted a first-round pick for him and some of these other things. So,
no way!
But
no.
I don't think that was going to happen, but that's what the Flyers were asking for. So I don't think he's going to move. But, the Rangers did the right job jumping in here because Henrique off the board, Lindholm was off the board, Monahan was off the board. There's not really many other centers available unless, Nick Dowd. But so the Rangers saw that the market was dwindling at center, and they jumped in and they got the move done. So good for them.
Yeah, so I do agree there. We're going to move on from the Rangers and the Wenberg deal here. We're going to highlight another one, and we'll go back and we'll talk more about other deals, but just want to get through some of these others. So the next deal that we're going to talk about is Colorado and Buffalo, Bowen Byram for Casey Mittelstadt. Now, this is the definition of a pure hockey trade. Both teams benefit from this. Both teams get players return, players under team control, players that are young, productive, and just address the need for the other team. So I love this deal for both teams. I know that there were some in the chat that were asking, why would Buffalo get another left shot defenseman when they have Dahlin and Power? You can now distribute your minutes better with having three studs down the left-hand side. And if Bowen Byram or any one of those guys wants to try playing the right-hand side for like a power combination or a power pairing late in the game or something like that, you can throw that together too if you want now. I love this move for both sides. Colorado got the player that they needed to replace Nazem Kadri. Yes, Casey Mittelstadt is not Nazem Kadri. Nazem Kadri is better defensively. He's more physical. He's more experienced. But Casey Mittelstadt is he is a tremendous talent offensively. He's gotten better defensively, and I think he'll fit in perfectly in Colorado. So plays a great speed game, tremendous skater, great play driver, has all the offensive tools that Colorado is looking for in a second-line center. And Bowen Byram, top pick in 2019, really hasn't lived up yet, but I think that he was kind of blocked in Colorado with Makar and Taves. He was never going to get the type of minutes that he needed to in order to really shine as a true top pairing defenseman. So Buffalo gets a real good player back in return for Mittelstadt.
Yeah, Casey Mittelstadt came along slow, but he's really kind of arrived now. And I think, for the Avalanche, a team that needed, help at center ice, this is a great deal for him, and honestly for Buffalo too. It's a win-win. Buffalo adds a guy like Bowen Byram who skates really well, and being a foundation, being a great defenseman is someone that skates well, moves the puck well, and he has all those tools. He had a little bit of issue with concussion there in his career, or even though he's still so young, but hopefully, now that he has a new change of scenery, he can get comfortable and his game really take off. And remember, defensemen take a little bit longer to develop. I mean, we saw Noah Dobson, how he just exploded onto the scene this year. And he really kind of arrived. And I know Bowen Byram, he's kind of a bit of a different defenseman, but the point is, you got to be patient. And, now Buffalo has another stud to pair with Power, in Dahlin. So overall, a hockey trade, and it was a win-win in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. And as Chris T is saying here, thank you for this, is that Hanifin to Vegas is heating up per Elliot Friedman. So that's if Vegas gets Noah Hanifin and they add him to a core that already has Alex Pietrangelo and Shea Theodore, your top three is one of the better top threes in the league defensively. So that would be a real big move for them, and that seems like a Vegas Golden Knights type of move if I've ever seen one. So, but we'll move on.
If they acquire Hanifin, they're certainly going to be. If they acquire Hanifin, they're going to certainly be out on Guentzel at that point. So that would be another team you would think that's out on Jake Guentzel. Keep that in mind.
Yeah, that is absolutely a great point there. So that might bode well for the Rangers' chances that you get Jake Guentzel if that's really who they're going for. So please do like, share, and subscribe. I'm seeing the likes starting to pile up a little bit. So please, if you're new here, like, share, and subscribe. Tell us, come back with us on Friday because we're going to be doing a trade coverage Friday. We'll recap all these deals, talk a little more about them as well. And, and if they've had impact on any games played since they've occurred. So, but definitely join us for our trade deadline special. It's going to be a good one on Friday. The next deal that we have to go over is Adam Henrique to Edmonton at 75% retained of salary. Sam Carrick to Edmonton as well, 50% retained in salary. Ty Taylor and a 2024 7th-round pick to Edmonton. To Anaheim, a first-round pick in 2024, conditional 5th-round pick in 2025. And to Tampa Bay, a 2026 4th-round pick for the brokering the retention in the deal. So this is a real interesting one. Edmonton goes and gets a third-line center. And you know what? You say to yourself, you have Ryan McLeod. Why did you need to go get another third-line center?
I gotta step up. I'll cut you off. I got to step off to get Ella to pick her up. So I got to hop off. But Phil, you have 270 people here, so that's awesome. You guess trying to keep it going. But yeah, I got to head out and get the little rugrat from Dan. So I'll talk to you guys soon. And listen, with the way trades are breaking, it's possible that we're back on at some point, even after how long he goes by himself here. But you never know. So I'll talk to you guys, if not tonight, shortly.
Not a problem. Take care, Anthony. So, yeah, Anthony is going to hop out of the stream because he's got to do dad life, and he's doing a pretty good job with that. So, we'll see him on Friday. Or otherwise, unless we have another show, because let's just say breaking news happens an hour after I get off the stream, and then all of a sudden, bang, we're looking at Jake Guentzel to the Rangers or someone else to the Rangers. Then we will go live for that if we have somebody available. I think Anthony would be available at that point, depending, and I think I should be available at that point as well. But so this one is interesting to me. Henrique and Carrick, you get two centers in this deal. Ty Taylor, who's probably not going to factor much into this playoff run, and a 7th-round pick. And then Anaheim gets the first for the two players and a conditional 5th. And then Tampa Bay gets a 6th-round pick in 4th-round pick in 2026 to broker the deal. But you know what? Good for Edmonton to go get Adam Henrique. I've always been saying over the last, I don't even know however many years, that Edmonton has needed depth, and they finally start to get good depth players like Ryan McLeod. And then they bring in Warren Fogle. And you know what? This is a real good deal for Edmonton to go get another player like Henrique. They give up their 1st-round pick this year. So likely they're not going to be able to get somebody like Guentzel or Hanifin without giving up a future first. But I can't see them doing anything with the cap anyway. So I like this a lot, though. I do. I do think that Henrique is going to help them out in the playoffs. They needed help in their middle six. This helps them quite a bit. Henrique, I believe, can play wing. Hasn't really done it in a while, but he can play wing. So Good pickup for Edmonton. Tampa Bay not really going to say much because they get a futures just for helping broker out the pick or broker out the deal. And then Anaheim, they end up getting a decent return for these two. Albeit they had to retain some, so not too bad. Not too bad for them. I'll move on from this one. And this is an interesting one for me because I can't believe that in the position that Philadelphia is in, they made this deal. Sean Walker, as Evan corrected earlier on when Anthony said Scott, the former NHLer that used to play for Nashville and Carolina. Sean Walker and a 2026 fifth-round pick for a 2025 first-round pick, top 10 protected, and Ryan Johansson. And then Philadelphia goes and waives Ryan Johansson. Tell you that right now. This is a real weird deal for me. Real weird deal. And I'll say this because Walker is the type of defenseman that teams are looking for left and right come playoff time. Left and right. I mean, he's physical. He's sound defensively. He's tough to play against. That's somebody that I really am surprised that they made this deal. But Colorado, for me, has got to be one of the Stanley Cup favorites after adding Walker and Middlestat in the same day. They went out and made the deals that they needed to make. And good on them. Good on Chris McFarland to go make those moves and identify those players and get those deals done 2 days ahead of the deadline. And jumped on them in succession and got them done quickly. So, I mean, that's what you want to see from your general manager. Confident general manager that knows what he's looking for, goes in there and gets the job done and gets it done quickly. And Sean Walker can play either side, left or right. So he gives you flexibility there. He basically replaces Byram. And you use Byram to upgrade at center. And you got rid of Johansson in the process. This is really, I have to say, it's masterclass work from McFarland. Masterclass work on his part. Well done. I really like this deal for Colorado. I don't know what Philadelphia is doing here. I'm guessing it's because they got notification from Walker's camp that he wasn't going to stay with them. I really don't get why they moved him otherwise, because they're in the middle of a playoff race. They could have used him as their own rental, but they decided to get something for him, and they got a nice return. They got a nice return. They get a first round pick next year and a fifth round pick in 2026. Colorado gives up or actually gets a fifth round pick in 2026. So they also get Ryan Johansson, but Philadelphia, but Johansson, they didn't want anything to do with him. So it goes to show you how far Ryan Johansson has dropped. Here's the question now. Ryan Johansson's still an NHL player. Is he an effective one? No, not really. I mean, he's not great. And he's probably worth maybe a quarter of what he's making against the cap. I mean, he's retained right now at 50% already. So his cap hit is technically $4 million for Philly. I wouldn't pay him any more than $1.5 million, to tell you the truth. But does Ryan Johansson take a chance on himself and agree to mutual termination of a contract so that way he can go get picked up by a team before the playoffs? Because center depth is always needed. It's just a matter of what team would take a chance on him if he's available, let's just say, a prorated amount of $1 million for the rest of the year. And Ryan Johansson may not agree to that. He may not agree to that at all. He's got 13 goals and 23 points in 63 games so far this year. and might have the mighty have fallen. So I wonder if he would take a chance just so he could play in the playoffs. But something tells me that he may be happy with $4 million, because any team that picks him up is not going to pick him up for $4 million prorated. They're just not going to give that much cap space. And a lot of teams are not going to have the cap space to give that type of center, that type of cap hit to come in and play a reduced role. They're just not. It just didn't work out in Colorado for Johansson. Colorado identified a guy that they wanted to get it at their number 2 spot, and they did a good job to get him. So Ryan Johansson ends up the cap casualty from this. We'll see what happens next with him. That'll be one of the interesting stories, more under the radar stories of the trade deadline. The next deal to go over from today is Vladimir Tarasenko at 50% retained for a 2024 4th round pick and a 2025 3rd round pick. And I will tell you right now, I did not want Vladimir Tarasenko back. Unless the Rangers could not get him back because they couldn't retain salary on him again. No double retention for them. So I like this deal for Florida. It just makes them a very deep team offensively now. They're scary. And if Florida gets Noah Hannafin or upgrades on defense, and Sergei Bobrovsky goes back to Cinderella mode again like he did in the postseason. I mean, Sergei Bobrovsky's been incredible in his last, I would say, like 10 to 12 games. But this is a great deal for Florida. I don't know how you can hate this. You really can't. You would be lying to yourself if you said you hate this from a Florida Panthers perspective. You gave up 2 minimal assets for a player that can still be productive for you, that could slot in anywhere on one of your top 9 roles. And he's actually got decent numbers so far this year in Ottawa. 17 goals, 41 points in 57 games with the Senators. Now, here's my question, or I have a couple of questions. Where is he slotting in? Exactly who is he playing with? And does his ice time get reduced from the 16 minutes a game he's averaging in Ottawa right now? That's the question. But even though his ice time may be reduced and he may not end up being on Florida's first power play unit, this is a nothing burger of a return to give up for a player of Tarasenko's stature. So I love this deal for Florida. Ottawa got what they could get because their hands were tied with the trade protection that Tarasenko had, and this is an example of why you do not give trade protection to a player that you're going to deal by the end of the year, or that you have an inclination that you could end up dealing by the end of the year if you're signing him to a 1-year deal. I don't know what they were doing there. I really don't. But, I mean, that's a lesson that you are going to have to learn for Steve Stamkos. That's going to be your first big lesson. Actually, I can't even say that because it wasn't even him. It was Pierre Dorian that really gave him that deal. But, yeah. Honestly, that's a deal that Ottawa has to learn from. It really is. So Pierre Dorian, I guess, gives a last parting gift to the team as he leaves, and has Vladimir Tarasenko basically force his way to someone in the division, and the team gets an awful return for him. I mean, I expected like a 2nd round pick and maybe a 3rd round pick for Tarasenko. But, I mean, yeah, this is it right here from Matt. The Panthers are stacked with Verhaeghe, Reinhart, Tkachuk, Tarasenko, and Rodriguez at wing. And they have depth. They really do. So, yeah, Pierre was fired, but he was the one that gave that deal. So, and just to confirm that, we are on Cap Friendly. And we will go in because I'm pretty sure that Dorian gave this deal. Dorian was only fired fairly recently. Yeah, this deal was given by, signed by Pierre Dorian. Correct. Okay. But yes, that is the lowdown on that deal. We will go forward with what is the last deal, which actually happened yesterday, and that is Vegas and Washington. Anthony Mantha to Vegas for a 2024 second-round pick and a 2026 fourth-round pick. This is a decent deal for both teams, if you ask me. Washington wasn't going to get a ton for Mantha, even though Mantha's actually having a pretty good year. I believe he has 20 goals already. But they weren't going to get a ton for him because of his injury history and the fact that he's a free agent. But 20 goals in 56 games, very good on a bad Washington team. 34 points. He could still put up points. He's still a guy that could, slot in as your top line or top six right wing, anywhere in the top six right wing, either two lines, and he could score you a bunch of goals. He's just got an incredible shot, a good set of hands. He knows how to score goals in tight, from distance. He's a guy that can get it done, putting the puck in the net. And 50% retained, so Vegas doesn't take a huge cap hit on, and they give up only a second-round pick and a fourth-round pick to do it. That's a very good deal for both teams. Anthony Mantha I never thought he would get a first, but I thought maybe a second and a third, or a second and a decent prospect would have been the price, but they only give up picks, and it's a second and a fourth. And the fourth is not even for another few years. So I like this deal a lot for Vegas. I still like it for Washington too, because I feel like they got some decent picks for him. And they understood the market, and they didn't try to overplay their hand and force a first and lose the deal that they had. They identified what they wanted, and they went out and they got it from Vegas. So good for them. Good for them. This is actually a great question, Izzy. We had Neil Smith on with us previously, and we will definitely try to have him on again. I know when we spoke with him previously, we wanted to have him on sometime around this time. So maybe we'll have Marc send out a message to our former general manager of the New York Rangers. And we'll talk. Oh, wow. Ryan Leslie of Sportsnet is just saying Hanifin to Vegas. Let's take a look and see. I am firing things up here, so bear with me. I am the only one manning right now, as you can see. So if I am a little silent on you guys, I do apologize, but I am trying to get the information here as well. So here we go. Noah Hanifin. And let's see this tweet. Ryan Leslie, who is a host on Sportsnet and Hockey Night in Canada, is saying that he believes Noah Hanifin is headed to Vegas. Okay. Later on, Firestorm, thank you, and let's go Rangers. Remember, if you haven't already, like, share, and subscribe. 276 with you here, and we were over 280 at one point. Thank you all for being on with us. I appreciate that. I'm very happy to have some big numbers here watching me. If I ramble a little bit, I do apologize. So, but I am going to keep the stream on for a bit. I don't want to go too long because we do have a game to watch. Oh, no, actually, no, we don't. That's right. It's for Friday. I thought we had a game to watch tonight. We don't. St. Louis Friday. My bad. False alarm. But yeah, false alarm. We have oh no, it's Saturday, actually. Not even Friday, Saturday. Jeez. Feels like forever, Rangers. And here's Marc jumping in. He can't be on with us, but he's in the chat listening, or in the chat, or maybe even watching as well. So, Saturday, actually, yeah, that's what I was saying. Oh, John Radigan with the big one. This would have been a great Bar Talk question. On March 8th, 2024, at 3:01 p.m., is Capo Caco still a New York Ranger? Yeah. Yeah, that's a good question there. We'll see. We'll see. Things are heating up around here, though. Hey, John. The Kevin Weeks tweet for it. Let's see. Whoa, okay. So Kevin Weeks is hearing that there could be Guentzel to the Canucks, DeBrusk to the Penguins, and Lindholm to the Bruins in a three-way deal. This would be the biggest three-way deal in quite some time. Oh, man, that would be huge. That would be massive, and that would be bad. Real bad. Real bad for the Rangers. Because you lose Guentzel, and then Boston ends up getting Lindholm, which improves them big time. Big time. He may even be able to slot in as their number one center. And then you get, oh, geez. I would not be very happy if that happened. I hope to God that's not. Friedman is on TNT right now. That's a monster tweet from Weeks if that happens. Let's hope that doesn't. I can tell you as Ranger fans, you got to hope that that does not happen. I will say that. Our guy is Alex Tuck. Make it happen. Yeah, no, I don't see that, John. Sorry. I don't see him leaving. I don't think Buffalo wants to move him, and I don't think he wants to leave Buffalo. Yeah, Anthony just texted me about the big three-way trade tweet from Weeks. Just crazy. You know what? The thing with Guentzel is that he's a free agent, and it doesn't necessarily guarantee that he's going to sign where he's traded to. I mean, if he comes with an extension, they're going to want more than Guentzel. So yeah, DeBrusk, for if you gave up a player like DeBrusk for a rental in Guentzel, I would be shocked. Be very, very shocked. Friedman has confirmed Noah Hannafin to Las Vegas. It is confirmed. Wow. Okay. So we're going to wait for the details on this one. But Elliot Friedman is now confirming. Wow. I got to get to this TNT stream. Damn it. Sorry. I gotta put that on. So let's put that on. Now he's talking about Jacob Markstrom. Do I think it's essential that New York Rangers outbid teams like Carolina, Edmonton, and Boston for Guentzel now? I mean, I would like it. I would like to see it, but I don't know if it's going to happen. I'm not convinced that Hallmark is going to go anywhere now. TSN is its own channel in Canada. So if you're not in Canada, you're not getting TSN unless you have a stream somewhere. Yeah, I don't see that. Now Liam is asking about Pavel Buchnevich.
The guy here knows dugout strong better than anybody else. And apparently he's got a saying, which is, you can ask, but you may not like the price. And I have heard that.
So Elliot is basically saying that the price on Buchnevich is very, very high.
It's a very high price.
Welcome to the show, Simone. Simone Deshane, I think is how I pronounce that. But thank you for joining us. We appreciate that. Like, share, and subscribe. Tell everybody about us. But yeah, we have a pretty interesting show going on here. I'm sorry for the silence, but I am listening into the Elliot Friedman talk as well.
They're really tight to the cap, even though they have some flexibility. They only need their 2 roster spots right. They're carrying a 21 skater roster right now, so it's tight. And I really, they were in Canada. They really let.
I think they're talking about Edmonton right now.
They really wondered if there was another defenseman out there that was worth it for them to spend some of their biggest assets on. So they pulled another deal. I think they're looking for depth. I'm not convinced they're going to look for a top.
Elliot, thanks so much. Really appreciate it.
Okay, Elliot's done.
I've got a bunch of calls. All right. Yeah, really felt big at the end, but telling us no. Thanks so much, Elliot. Whatever you're making, it's not enough fight.
Is Drury in trouble if he drops the ball here? Maybe. Who knows? See you later, Pete. Everybody else is getting better. The Rangers need Guentzel. Yeah. Weeks confirming the Hannafin trade too. Yeah. Noah Hannafin to Vegas. Yeah. Weeks confirming as well. So it's big. It's big. Wow. This is a big move for Vegas. I want to see what the return is. Want to see what the return is, but that's a massive deal for them. Yeah, Vegas is pretty much like a model franchise. And we are for life saying the only way that I would not trade for Guentzel is that they want Gabe Pro. Yeah, I would. I personally am okay with giving up Hoffman for Guentzel. Guentzel can put you over the top. Guentzel can put you over the top. So yeah, that's why I'm not putting up the trade yet on the ticker, is because we just don't know what it is yet. So there's no point in me putting up something on the ticker for it. Their salary cap is close now. Tell you that right now. They used up a lot of their LTIR with Hannafin and Mantha. So I don't think Vetrano's necessarily off the table, Sean, but Anaheim can no longer retain on players because they've used up all 3 of their retention slots. So that's not gonna happen with retention from them. You're gonna have to bring in a third team to broker that retention. I don't know if the Rangers are gonna get Guentzel. I don't know. Vegas was the only team in a playoff spot with every one of their single draft picks in place over the next 3 years going into the deadline. And yeah, they're taking advantage of that. They are. Fans are always in the ear about the East being open and the Rangers are cup contender, but why not solidify it by getting Guentzel? Yeah, listen, if this is the year to go all in, this is it. This is it. I'm always weary of trading Hoffman or Perot because you want to keep the pipeline open. Yeah, you're going to have to give to get, though, at some point.
So you won't just see him in the first 10 minutes.
We need defensive help. What are we going to do?
You won't just know Matthew Savoie.
I don't think they're going to make a big move for a defenseman. I think for some reason, I think this team is happy about they're happy about the way their defense is. Okay, so Emily Kaplan is saying the Penguins are still weighing their offers on Guentzel. Few teams, including the Rangers, Carolina, and Vancouver, are still in. So, yes, the pressure is on Drury big time. If the Rangers get Guentzel, this would be a much bigger acquisition than Kane, Tarasenko, judging like points. Yes. I'm sorry, but I am totally on board with moving both of those guys if it gets me Jake Guentzel. Capo Caco's not winning you a Stanley Cup. That's not the guy that's winning you a Stanley Cup. The guy that may end up scoring a game-winning goal for a Stanley Cup is Jake Guentzel. Sorry, but it's absolutely the case. And quite frankly, contract extension also in the works for Hannafin with Vegas. So, yeah, Chris T, you sent your post in the chat right at the same time that Anthony sent his in our group chat. But why are we worrying about what Brennan Othman or Capo Caco is going to be, especially Capo Caco? The guy has been up with this team for 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. 5 seasons now. And you can talk about whether or not he's been mishandled, messed up, his confidence is shot, whether he's John Muckler, whether the coaches have John Mucklered him or not. Listen, I don't care. I don't. I really don't at all. And you know what? I'm not going to sit there and I'm not going to pretend to know what Brendan Othman's ceiling is. I'm not. But at the same time, why am I letting Brendan Othman and Capo Caco hold me back from getting Jake Guentzel? The idea is to win a Stanley Cup, not to win season mode every single year in dynasty mode on NHL 24. This is the goal. Peter Laviolette was brought in to win this team a Stanley Cup. You go get Jake Guentzel and you worry about everything else afterwards. The only guy that is off limits is Gabriel Perreault, because that's a guy that you include in a trade for someone like a McDavid, a McKinnon, a Draisaitl, a Matthews, Pettersson, someone like that. Not a rental. Someone like that. It's time to win enough already. Yes. Multiple Stanley Cups won't happen if you don't win one first. You realize you have to win one first. One first. Stop talking about no, nobody is saying 94 over and over again. None of these are mutually exclusive in any such sort of way. And the comparison here is asinine. And I'll say it's asinine because they made a move the year after they won that hurt them for years. It was the move they made in the panic, knee-jerk reaction mode to losing to Philadelphia in 95 that hurt them, that had the 94 and downhill for years. Start with one cup. Win one cup first, then worry about the other cups afterwards. And yes, James, this is a valid question. Will Guentzel come with an extension? Yes, I understand the concern about that. But for me, everything is on the board for Jake Guentzel. Yeah, and you know what? They made good deals Nash was a good deal. Nash turned out to be a really good year. I don't care what anybody said. Brandon Dubinsky had 2 solid years in Columbus and then went after that. Artem Anisimov, what did he do? He went downhill after he stopped playing on the party line with Panarin and Kane. I mean, you want to talk about Marty St. Louis and giving up the 2 first-round picks. What did they do with those 2 first-round picks? Yeah, it reports saying that's what's taking Penn so long to trade him. And maybe that is it. Maybe that is it. My hope is that Guentzel agrees to an extension with the Rangers. The Rangers figure out the cap and all that other crap afterwards. And they get the deal done. And if Capo Caco has to go, then goodbye. Goodbye. I care more about this. This logo right here is what I care about. I don't care about the name on the back. I don't. The only players, I should say maybe 2 players that I've ever valued the name as much on the back as I have on the front. Wayne Gretzky, because he's my all-time favorite player, and Marc Messier, because he was my second all-time favorite player, and he got them that cup. This is what matters. That cup is what matters. The name on the back here, don't talk to me about that. I don't care. I don't care if you think Capo Caco is going to turn into JT Miller. Capo Caco has not even shown anywhere close to the progress that JT Miller showed in New York before he was dealt. You got to remember, JT Miller was a 20-goal, 50-point player in New York. By this time. You'll horse and buggy him? I'll stick my fat ass in a Pinto, and I will drive Caco to Pittsburgh myself. I will make the 6.5 hour drive to Pittsburgh and make that. How would we replace? You know what? Listen, I'm not trying to sit here and talk about Capo Caco as if he's a bad player or anything. And I get it. People are disappointed. There's a lot of things that have come into play that have really hurt his development. And we've beaten the dead horse already. I'm not going to go over it. I'm not going to talk about Quinn. I'm not going to talk about Gallant. I'm not going to talk about the fact that he hasn't played on a power play or anything like that. It's done. It's over with. We're past that point. The point is, if he is what helps you get the player like Jake Guentzel, I am making that deal 8 days a week, and I'm doing it once before pasta dinner on Sunday and once after pasta dinner on Sunday. I don't care about draft status or what Capo Caco was supposed to be or this and that. You don't deal Capo Caco for a pure rental. I understand that. But Jake Guentzel is different from every other pure rental that's come along in the last few years in recent memory. Not only is Jake Guentzel the top-line goal-scoring right winger that they need, but he's one of the best active playoff postseason scorers there is. Yes, redundancy. Sorry. He's one of the best active postseason scorers in the league today. He is a point-per-game player, and I'll pull up his goals in the playoffs because you're going to blow your mind at about how good of a goal scorer this kid is. And he was a great playoff goal scorer from his very first postseason. Very first one. In his very first one, he led the NHL in goals in 2016-17 with 13 goals in 25 games. He had Conn Smythe credentials for that run. Conn Smythe credentials. Yet they gave it to Crosby because, yes, matchup center, number one guy, takes on tough defense while scoring almost a point per game. Yeah, I get it. Guentzel, 58 points, 34 goals in 58 games. You want to do the numbers on that? Because these numbers are, they're pretty impressive. 34 and 58. 34 and 58 is 0.58 goals per game. You want to know what that is over a full, 82-game season? 48 goals. That is 48 goals over an 82-game season. How do you not want that guy on this team? How do you not? He had 8 goals in the first round against the Rangers in 2022. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. And the injury thing is, I haven't seen anybody say this, Evan. I'm not going to lie to you. But if anybody says this, they don't know what's going on, and they weren't paying attention to what's going on back then. You know what? Would I be totally disappointed in Frank Petrano? No, I wouldn't. Depending on the price, I wouldn't. But you know what? Guentzel's the guy to go, and I think he's really the target, and I think Petrano is really just looked at as a fallback plan. Listen, I'm not doubting you. I'm not. I do agree. I think it's hilarious. But I think that Guentzel's the guy. And anybody comparing those two injury-wise with him and Kane, yikes. Woof. I meant to comment, highlight Dan's comment here. He can also, and you need a guy that can come in and help facilitate. Hanifin extension, 6 years, 4.95. They can't keep getting away with this. Oh. Oh my God. I thought Hanifin for sure would get 6 or 7 on the market. At 4.9. How is this possible? Is it the property taxes? There it is. No state income tax. There it is. Just like the Florida teams and Dallas, no state income tax. And that's it. That's it. Lindgren will not get $4.5 million if Hanifin is getting 4.95, because Hanifin is a far better defenseman than Ryan Lindgren. And I like Ryan Lindgren. I appreciate everything he does, but you're going to ask me who I'd rather have? I'm taking Hanifin 10 out of 10 times. Thank you, Jeff Gorton. Thank you for that one. Oh, yeah. But this is amazing how Vegas can continue to get these guys and get them on the cheap for nothing. So, I hope he comes to the Rangers. I think the Rangers are in on him. I think they may even be the favorites. But I don't know for sure, buddy. I don't know. I know you asked me earlier, but I figured I'd come back to you with this. Yeah, McCribben's doing a great job with Vegas. Really is. Vegas just put Alec Martinez on LTIR. No. I think there's something really wrong in Calgary. All these guys just wanting out randomly. Gaudreau, Kachuk, Lindholm, Hanifin, all these guys all of a sudden just went out? What's going on here? So let's see here. So hold on. So where did we see that the Hannafin extension was done? Oh, I think somebody may have looked at Cap Friendly's tweet and saw that he was on, because that 495, no, 495 times 6 is the actual is the current deal that he's on. Whoa, this is interesting. The Rangers have representatives, as in scouts or front office, Steven? Please, if you can, elaborate. Full building, winning culture, fun town, low taxes. I can attest to all of that, because I've been there. Sean, I'll go back. I'll go over. No Okposo. No. Tuck, yes. Okposo, no. What's my thoughts on Wenberg? I like the deal a lot. It's not a sexy deal that's going to help you or get you super excited, but he's solid. He's a third line center. He's what you want there. He's good defensively, can make plays. If Capo Caco's not dealt, and it's Cooley, Caco, and Wenberg, that could be a good line. It could be a real good line. Wenberg can also kill penalties. So Anaheim's GM was at the Garden and nothing happened. Yeah, I mean, that's a fair point, but it's still, I mean, the fact that they're there this close to the deadline, it means that they are looking at something. So the Rangers, their schedule is St. Louis on Saturday. And then you have the Devils on Monday, Carolina on Tuesday, Lightning on Thursday, Pittsburgh on Saturday, and the Islanders next Sunday, the 17th. So, you got to wonder. I mean, got to wonder what's going on where. But interesting to hear that the Rangers are in the building for the state. Rangers have representatives in the building for the game between Toronto and Buffalo. So they're definitely looking at something. What would I give up for Tuck? I would give up Othman the first and Kako for Alex Tuck. You put Alex Tuck on that line with Chris Kreider and Mika Zibanejad, that would do wonders for that first line. That's a big, fast individual that knows how to win. $290 of you guys with us. Love that. Absolutely love that. Thank you all for being on with us. We appreciate that. Remember, if you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe. Join us on Friday for our trade deadline special. We'll be doing more coverage on Friday. Don't know exactly what time we're going to start up, but we will be doing more. So, yeah, no hesitation at all for me either, Steven. Thank you, Maddie. Dreger is saying that salary retention is involved in a Hannafin trade. Ooh, okay. And Joe Shane Train, you asked who is better, Alex Tuck or Jake Guentzel? I think Jake Guentzel's the better player, but Alex Tuck, how do you say no to that? Big, fast, strong, skilled, physical. Like, you imagine putting him with Mika and Kreider? That's a big power line right there. Steven, you may be right about this, but the one thing that you got to factor in is that Tuck is from the area. He's from Syracuse, so he's from that area, and he's been vocal about wanting to stay with the team. So unless this is another Brian Leach, Glenn Sather 2004 situation, I really wonder if he gets traded. Yeah, this is a pretty interesting day. I think I'm probably going to go about another, say maybe like 10 minutes or so. What time is it? 7:17. So we'll go to 7:30 Eastern. Yeah, Sather traded Leach on his birthday. Go ahead and say that for you. That shows you the relationship that he and Brian Leach had. And that's why Brian Leach did not come back in 2005, 2006, and he signed with Boston. And they could have used him in 2005, 2006. Yeah. And we have Anthony back.
Yeah, it seems like it's a lot went down when I was gone. Noah Hannafin going to the Golden Knights. It's crazy, man. Like it's the Knights always find a way to get their man. They always find a way.
And Emily Kaplan saying that she hasn't heard anything about the 3-team deal, but Rangers are still one of the favorites to land Jake Guentzel, too, on top of that.
Might be nothing left for Friday.
No. Maybe.
Maybe
this is our trade deadline special.
I'm curious. Marc's not happy right now, I can tell you that. I wonder if Vegas had to give up Brandon Brisson in the deal for Hannafin.
Well, Dreger was saying that salary retention is involved in this trade. So let's see what happens with this trade, because that'll be interesting to see what's retained and who's going back in return. 6 minutes ago, still not complete, still being worked on. There will be some form of salary retention when complete, getting there. And he also said contract extension was also in the works. So that's real interesting.
You know what I am curious now is, where does Tampa Bay go from here? Because they were in the mix for Hannafin with Sergachev out. Tanev is already gone. Who do they go for? I heard Colton Parayko's name has kind of been out there, but I don't know. Last I heard is that he hasn't been asked to waive anything yet, so I'm not really sure about that. Joel Edmondson, but is he really going to move the needle for Tampa Bay?
Toronto checked in on him, apparently.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious.
So your friend at TFP, Mr. David Pagnotta, is saying that as the Flames and Knights finalize the Hannafin trade, word out of Vegas suggests that they aren't finished, could still add another forward by the deadline. Ooh, getting spicy in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Someone fire up Elvis and start singing Viva Las Vegas, because they might make another deal by Friday. It may be a big one for all we know.
Vegas at the current moment has $4.2 million worth of cap space.
That's enough to make a move.
Calgary is retaining. Well, that's before Hannafin. That's before the Hannafin trade. So Hannafin makes what? What's his cap hit? No, Hannafin. It's
4.95.
Hannafin's cap hit is 4.95.
4.95. He's on the last year of a 6-year deal of an AAV of 4.95. Because somebody said that was the extension that was being worked on. And I thought about it. I was like, wait. I was like, that sounds awful lot like the number that he's kind of making right now, because my thought is that an extension for him was going to come out no lower than 6.
Yeah.
Probably about 6.5.
So if Vegas currently has 4.2 available, and let's say Calgary retains 50%, he makes 4.95. So that's 2.9. So Vegas.
You got to factor this in too, Anthony. You got to factor this in too. Vegas placed Martinez on LTIR, so they add another $5.25 million to their LTIR pool. Let's just LTIR the whole team and then get everybody. This is not going to have this system changed or anything. The next CBA.
Yeah, because right now, Cap Friendly is still showing Alec Martinez on regular IR, not LTIR.
Yeah, unless he's on I would have to, because I haven't seen a notification that says Alec Martinez.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything from them saying that he got placed on LTIR. Right now, Cap Friendly still shows him on IR. So, and I haven't seen a tweet from the Vegas Golden Knights saying that he's been placed on LTIR.
It's on injured reserve.
Either.
It's not. It's not
Yeah.
long-term injured reserve.
Yeah. So his cap hit still counts towards the roster right now.
Tampa, look at how we took advantage of the LTIR loophole. Vegas, hold my. You think you're good? Hold my beer.
Yeah.
It's pretty accurate. Can't lie there.
Yep.
No lies detected. No lies.
So I just found out that because I inquired about if Brandon Brassard's in the deal. I was told that not sure. Nobody on Vegas even knows yet. So
I'm guessing that's from one of DB or DP.
yes, apparently no one on Vegas knows yet. I guess players, which means players that are going the other way haven't been informed yet that they've been traded. So
So they're still really in the preliminary stages. 302 right now with us. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Thank you very much. That's a big number for us here. So thank you very, very much. And definitely tell everybody. If the numbers keep coming, we may have to stay on a bit here. This is massive.
Yeah.
This is exposure, guys and girls. Thank you
Yeah,
all.
yeah. We always should do good with these types of special streams. And listen, it seems like there's a lot of irons in the fire for multiple teams right now. I mean,
yeah.
Yesterday you saw the report that the Penguins wanted to trade Guentzel today. That's what it was said yesterday. So who knows? He might be traded soon tonight. We'll still have to see there.
Imagine? Can you imagine if he's dealt to the Rangers right after we stop this stream?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
You know how mad Marc would be? Oh my God!
Yeah,
I think Marc would break the little basketball hoop that Matt and Evan gave him if that happened.
Probably.
I think he might go into a rage. Like he would be the equivalent of playing NHL online against somebody and that person rage quitting and just breaking their controller.
Yeah. Just trying to see Vegas.
Oh yeah, I'm with you on this, John. And I've been beating this drum for a while. We want BAH hockey lace-up buddies. Hockey laces lace-up buddies. That would be awesome. I mean, that's going to be something that we'll have to do one day. But yeah, under no circumstances is Marc allowed to harm that hoop. And Joe Shane Train is saying Adam Herman tweet. I don't know what he's talking about. Tweet? Yeah, Adam Herman is one of those Rangers blog guys. So he tweets 10 minutes ago, Rangers or Carolina would not only be trading for Guentzel, but the other team's not getting Guentzel. I don't think you could put too much stake in that, but it's not nothing. I mean, I thought there was maybe something that he was breaking or something. Maybe that he had something.
I don't know.
My Facebook user. I don't know. I can't see who that is. For some reason, don't.
It might be It might be L's because when me and Dermo did our El Rock and Domo show earlier, it came up as Facebook user. But then after I got off and looked at the recording on Facebook, it came up
Oh, it's
under.
Cheddar.
Oh, there you go.
Hey,
There you go. Yeah.
hey, let's go. So,
The one thing I wonder about with Jake Guentzel and the Rangers is that, I mean, I think Pittsburgh would trade him within the division. I think it ultimately comes down which team gives him the best offer. But if they are trading him to the Rangers, you have to believe that they're gonna want more as opposed to if they were trading him to like the Canucks out of conference.
yeah, well,
So
either them or Carolina. You gotta.
Yeah.
Carolina's also in the division.
So, I mean, you got to assume if the Rangers were to get Guentzel, Brendan Othman, you would imagine, would have to be in the deal.
Yeah,
I can't see Pittsburgh sending him there and not at least getting one of their better prospects.
I said this
Would
before.
Drury move him though if he knows he would just be a rental, or I don't know.
That's what I said previously. Would I do it? Yeah, because I think he helps put you over the top, and you need that first line to go. If you don't go get someone who's a real difference maker, that first line is going to be ineffective. Their play is almost so almost so bad together. Him and Kreider, Mika Zibanejad and Kreider, it's almost so bad that it's almost like they're defying them and saying, "Oh, go get me somebody because we're so bad. We're going to continue to play so bad until you go get somebody." Like, we know what these guys are capable of. They're capable of doing things as a duo. They are. They had Dryden Hunt with them for one point, and they were producing. So to me, it's just you got to be better. Got to be better. And the way to get better is to go add talent. And the efforts need to be there. And Anthony, our numbers are climbing here, man. I don't think I've seen this many in a stream. This is crazy. Wow. 318 people.
It's good.
Thank you all. Thank you all. This Toronto Buffalo game is pretty interesting.
We'll be back on Friday.
What's that?
I said we'll be back on Friday as well if there's stuff left to talk about. But
oh, you're going audio only? I'm guessing something came up on Anthony's end. But yeah, I mean, I hope so. I mean, if it's not going to happen like on Friday, I would hope it would happen like right now. That would be crazy because that would be absolutely nuts. That would be the stream. I know Marc does not want that to happen because Marc's not really available right now, but something tells me if that happened, Marc would find a way to get on for a few minutes because that's just what Marc does sometimes. So I don't know what Anthony's doing. There he is.
I do wonder about Carolina as well, because in the sense that you remember they made a real offer for Elias Pettersson. It was serious to the point where Vancouver actually went to Pettersson and actually have a good
Your
offer.
audio is going in and out, Anthony.
It's what?
Your audio is going in and out. It's very choppy.
Still?
Not now, no.
I was saying, was Carolina made a legitimate offer for Elias Pettersson. That tells me that they're certainly in the market to do something big. So that's why if they end up with Jake Guentzel, I won't be surprised at all if the Hurricanes are very involved in Guentzel here.
The Rangers have to respond at that point. They have to, whether it's overpaying for Vetrano or bringing back Buchnevich, something has to be done at that point.
Yep.
But for me, Jake Guentzel has to be the top target for them right now.
Well, he's the best. He's the best player. Yeah, he's the best player out there.
So. Guentzel has a 12-team no trade clause, so yes, some say where he goes.
My dinner just arrived, so I am going to eat.
All right. Try to keep this going for a little longer here. No, Guentzel has only one cup, Joe Shane Train. He's on LTIR right now, but supposedly the word is he'll be back very soon. Very soon. Sorry, just taking a look at something here. Don't mean to be too silent. But this is it could be a big night. Could be a big night. But just looking around, seeing what's going on. Seeing if there's anybody. Well, yeah, Joe Shane Train. Yeah, that was the thing with Guentzel is that he's somebody that comes in and he scores. He scores in bunches, and he knows how to score goals. And I'm not too worried about him playing away from Sidney Crosby. I think he understands how to score goals and the right spots to go to do so. And that's what attracts me most about him, because this team plays a lot of perimeter hockey. Jake Guentzel does not play perimeter hockey. He doesn't. Anybody who watches him and thinks he plays perimeter hockey, I think you need to pay a little closer attention to his game. Joel Eriksson-Ek would be great, but he's not going anywhere. He's on a steal of a deal. He's not going anywhere. Absolutely agree, John Radigan. Anthony, I think it's a depth one at best, just so that they have a seventh guy that could come in that isn't Zach Jones. Alex Tuch would be great. And that's the guy that has term. So that's the guy that you would definitely be okay with giving up Kakko and Offman for in a deal. Like if that required Kakko, Offman, and a first, I mean, I'd be okay with that. You would have to have retention on Tuch. I don't know if Buffalo would necessarily retain, or if the Rangers would be able to send salary in another way back. You get what I'm talking about. Barclay Goodrow. They got one? I don't know what you're talking about here, J.E. Sorry, buddy. Yeah, they are in the finals right now for him. I'm just trying to check and see if I go silent, I'm sorry. Just I'm looking at stuff here too, and I'm trying to do a little bit of everything here. Friedman is saying Leafs won't trade Easton Cowan, Matthew Nyes, or Minton. Yeah, that's pretty obvious. It's like the Rangers, they won't trade Perreault. It's not gonna. That doesn't surprise anybody. Carolina, Friedman thought Carolina was the leading suspect or leading contender for Guentzel, but Nikishin is untouchable, their top prospect. Yeah, Canucks are aggressively after Jason Zucker. That wouldn't be a bad pickup for them either. No, I don't. I don't think they send out anybody really. I for some reason, I don't know why, but I feel like this franchise thinks that their defense is okay, even though it needs an improvement. I get the sense that they like what they have. They like Fox Lindgren. They like Miller Truba. They like Gustafson Schneider. Oh, sorry. My bad there. My bad. I get this feeling that they like that. And I don't know why they do. It needs improvement. And I get you're not gonna get a Hannafin or a Walker or someone like that or a Tanev to come in. But Bogosian would have been a nice fit, but he got signed. So Minnesota, I think, re-upped him. What's a fair return for Vetrano? Either a second round pick and a C to maybe B level prospect, or a first round pick and like a C to a D level prospect. No, Greg and Emily Kaplan are not married. They're just people with the same name. If you're talking about Greg from Blue Shirts Break, yeah, that's just the same name coincidence. Yes, I'm aware that they don't have a second round pick for a while. So Mikkola wanted too much money, and Gustafson has given them okay performance for what he is. You know what? I could see that being fair. It's the term for me. The term is going to get him a first round pick, or get Anaheim a first for Vetrano. The term in the season that he's having. But I really do wonder if Jake Guentzel is going to end up being a Ranger. I personally would make the move. It depending on what they want. Like, I want to know what the actual asking price is. See, I disagree there. I think he helps out the two of them. I think he's a fast, tenacious, gritty forechecker. And that's what that line needs on that other wing. So, yeah, I get it. You're buying high, but that's what a lot of players are that are free agents. I mean, at the end of the rentals, or guys that end up getting thrown around at the deadline, they end up being buy high situations because teams want to move them while they're on that hot streak or while they're playing well on that contract. It just ends up being the nature of the beast. I actually agree here. I think Tuck would be a great fit on that. Tuck would be stylistically and physically, Tuck is the best guy for that one. And yes, Dan, you're right. When you don't have a top line right winger, you're forced to buy high. And that's what the Rangers have not had right wing depth since Pavel Buchnevich left. Their right wing depth, their best right wing right now, is a left wing that's playing out of position. Excuse me. Just remember that. The left wing that's playing out of position. So I'm going to go for about another 4 more minutes. I'm going to go to 7:45. because I have to eat. I have not eaten. I apologize. I don't like cutting the stream short with 320 viewers, which is probably maybe even our biggest number ever. But I do need to eat, so I'm sorry. And this is going to get reviewed for going over the line or not. You can't see anything from the overhead, though. Nah, that's not how I do things. I'm sorry. Yeah, I hope so. I hope so, because if that's the case, I'm coming back on. Now Anthony is back. He just ate.
Scarf that down.
Or maybe Anthony could take the reins for a few minutes while I eat.
Yeah, I also got to put Ella to bed in a little bit, so
That is true.
So Darren Drugger just tweeted 13 seconds ago. He said, amid all the action today, be clear, Tyler Toffoli is in play. Devils are open to return in the way of multiple picks or a pick and a prospect.
Yeah, that would be an interesting one. I wonder if the Rangers and the Devils could. That's another one. Playoff experience, scores goals, would fit with the Rangers. You wonder if there's an in-division tax, but you wonder if that's somebody that the Rangers could pivot towards if they can't get Jake Guentzel.
I mean, it's funny you say that because I was just going to say if I'm Lou Lamoriello, I'm calling up Fitz and I'm inquiring about Tyler Toffoli.
You would be crazy not to. You'd be crazy not to. He fits right in. He could play both wings too.
Yeah. Yep.
So for me, that's a no-brainer that you should be calling on him. Absolute no-brainer. The Devils and the Rangers have recent history too. Well, fairly recent history, I should say. Back in 2018, they made the Michael Grabner trade. So it's not like these two teams are past the point of making a deal with each other. I mean, 26 goals in 61 games, including 44 points. And then the Islanders, they made, two deals? Or they made the Zajac deal. And Kyle Palmieri.
Yeah, Kyle Palmieri and Travis Zajac, yep.
So, yeah. I mean,
we talked about it in bar talk. I know Fitzgerald said he wasn't shopping Toffoli, but if he's getting that many calls, you got it. I mean, it would almost be negligent not to move him.
Yeah, negligent. It would be boneheaded to not move him at this point.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, but I get you want to keep the guy around, but at the same time, here's my issue. He's 31 as it is. That team is younger, and I get that you want experienced guys around. That's why you have Andre Palat and Dougie Hamilton and so on. Then you could go deal Tyler Toffoli away. So I don't understand why they wouldn't deal him, especially if teams are calling. Teams have got to – and that's the thing. I think this is definitely put out there because Fitzgerald is probably getting better calls and better offers closer to what he's looking for Toffoli, and teams are finally starting to come to raise to meet his price. And now he's throwing that line out there. Nope, here's the bait. Come get him. I think that's what this is. Posturing.
I agree, yeah. I think it's also a little bit of a cat and mouse. I think he says that, but I think he's probably also making calls asking teams about their interest in Toffoli as well. I do.
Oh, probably is. Wouldn't put that past him at all. And what do you give for Toffoli? That's where
right now I think a similar package. I was going to say similar package to Tarasenko, maybe just a little bit more. Like I don't think you're getting a first for Toffoli.
No,
a second and a
No.
prospect.
I would give up like a second round pick and maybe Bryce Connell Barker.
1 second. Yeah.
Bryce McConnell Barker, and then maybe, or I don't know if I would give up Sikora for Toffoli. I don't know about that. I may be higher on Sikora than most, but I'm also cognizant of what I think his ceiling is. And I think his ceiling is a good instigated third liner, kind of like a player like Sean Avery is what I think Sikora could become. But when is that? When is that? And that's really the issue is that this team wants to win now. They want to win now. They don't want to wait. And this might be their absolute best chance to do it. So you may have to pull the trigger on a move and give up a player like a Sikora if it means getting a deal done. And Anthony's coming back here in a second.
Pierre LeBrun just followed up Dreger's tweet. Said he doesn't think Toffoli's getting traded tonight, but said that there's certainly been traction and that something to look out for over the next 2 days here.
Jay is saying, I don't know if this is sarcasm or not, because there's a very good chance that it could be, is that heard Las Vegas is checking in on Toffoli. Wouldn't shock me because Las Vegas seems like they're in on everybody.
Yeah.
And then our boy here says LaRocco checking on the sauce and meatballs.
That's racist, Pete. That's racial discrimination, ethnicity discrimination, actually. I'm offended.
Anti-Italian discrimination right there.
Yeah.
And Yoda is saying LV is checking. Okay. So your boy is saying it. Any word on a Butch Damage trade? Nothing yet. But I would not be shocked if he ends up with Vegas. Because Vegas and St. Louis have a recent history after the Barbashev trade last year. And I would not be surprised if they go back and make another deal like that.
Now, Phil, to get an outsider's perspective, Wah just put that line together with the three centers together on one line: Nelson, Horvat, Barzal. If you were Lou, would you look to acquire a player like Toffoli that enables you to move Nelson back to center, or do you leave it as is and try to find a better center to play that second line?
No, I want Nelson at center. I want Nelson as my number 2 center because that's also a matchup guy right there. You're stronger down the middle that way. Center depth wins in the playoffs. You go get a winger that helps you out. Been saying for years that the Islanders needed a goal-scoring winger. We've had this discussion for God knows how long. But they need another sniper. And if Tyler Toffoli's there for the picking, I mean, that's a move that Lou has to go and make.
So you would move Nelson back to center, even though that he's played well with Barzal and Horvat as a wing.
Absolutely. So what their center depth after Barzal is what?
With Nelson now on the wing?
Yes.
Pajot, Cizikas, Kyle McLean.
You think that's good enough to win in the playoffs?
I mean, no. You want them strong in the middle for sure.
That's my point. That's my point.
Yeah.
It's just not good enough. It looks a lot better when it's Barzal, Nelson, Pajot, and then Cizikas. Do you really want Kyle McLean playing as your fourth line center in the playoffs? That'd be like asking a Ranger fan who they'd rather have right now as 4 center. Johnny Brodzinski or Barclay Goodrow. Everybody's going to tell you Brodzinski. because Goodrow
Yeah.
has not been good this year.
No, he's toast.
Dowd is left. That is the name that is left. Je.
Yeah,
We've got
I mean that
Sean
is true. There aren't
screaming
really much
obscenities
centers
of
left.
County over here.
There are not many centers left on the market.
No.
Yeah, Nick Dowd and
No.
I mean, I'm hard pressed to name. I mean, yeah, there's really
Minnesota's
there's
not
really
dealing
not much
Ryan
left.
Hartman.
No,
I
no.
mean, unless somebody, I wondered this before while you were off. Does Ryan Johansson accept like mutual contact termination? And I mean, for a chance to play in the playoffs, I mean, he'll lose out on what $4 million, I think it is for this year. I don't think he's signed next year. Is he? I would have to check, but I know that he's. Well, he actually $8 million is what he lose. Oh no, he is signed for $8 million next year. Oh my God, that's bad. Yeah, that's going to be rough.
Who are you talking about?
Johansson.
Oh, yeah. No, he's
chances Lindholm gets flipped again. It could happen.
Yeah, I mean, especially if the Canucks get Guentzel. If the Canucks get Guentzel, I think Lindholm absolutely gets flipped. I know Boston was really hard after him before he got dealt to Vancouver originally. And that's right. The rumors that have been going on here is that the Bruins would get Lindholm if the Canucks trade for Guentzel.
Yeah.
If I'm the Penguins, I know the Penguins, they said they wanted to trade him by today. That was yesterday. If I'm the Penguins, I mean, I hold on to him and just try to get as much teams involved as possible and drive the price up. I mean, I wouldn't be like stick to my guns on trying to trade him today. I mean, try to drum up more teams.
Who is saying this, Joe Shane Train? I mean, I'm familiar. I want to see this now because I haven't seen anything. The last I heard is that the Canucks were very aggressive on trying to get him. So where are you seeing? Who's tweeting this or saying it?
Yeah, I haven't seen any of that yet.
Yeah, I would be very interested to see where this part is coming from because I have not. One knowledgeable tweeter is saying it. Yeah, he's trying to find it. Unless it's an insider, I wouldn't take it from some random person on Twitter. I'll tell you that right now. Because that could be somebody making a parody account or.
Yeah, it's this time of year. I think you got to be careful of one, fake accounts, and then accounts of people like kind of claiming to be in the know, just basically pretenders. I try to stick to the Chris Johnstons, the Pagnotas, the LeBruns, Weeks.
Yeah, Chris, I was just going to say that because I just saw that on Dreger's tweet because I was just on Dreger's page.
Yeah, just popped up. D-Man Daniel Miramonov. And I'm not surprised by that. But I'll tell you this. If Vegas lands Noah Hannafin and doesn't give up Brandon Brisson, I'd be that's a win. Because I would say Phil Gray, he's probably their best prospect.
Probably. I mean, their prospect pool is not great, but he's their best guy.
Yeah. I want to address
Ranting
this. So
Rangers
earlier in the year.
Hold on. Ranting Rangers.
So earlier in the year, there was talks of Mario Ferraro garnering a lot of attention. But it's kind of gotten quiet on him last little while. I haven't heard anything on him. I'm sure the Sharks, let's face it, the Sharks are willing to listen on it pretty much just about anybody. So yeah, I think he could be had, but I haven't heard anything on him. So I can't answer that. But he would help. But I think Lou's going to look to add a forward. I mean, I don't see him Polak, Romanov, Dobson. That's a real solid 4 right there. And then Mike Riley has been a real nice surprise. So I don't think they're going to go out of the way to add a defenseman at this point. You're right, though. I think he is a really underrated player.
I mentioned him the other day with the Islanders, and I thought that that would be a real good picture.
No, yeah, he's solid. He's
for addition for the
solid.
the D. So what Joe Shane Train was saying was that the Ranting Rangers podcast was basically kind of paraphrasing Friedman. So Friedman, basically what they tweeted was, so Friedman has said he's getting the impression that Vancouver isn't sure that they can win this race for Guentzel. And we all see, it seems that Florida, Colorado, Edmonton are out. Carolina never has the guts to pay for a rental, and Vegas is looking at Hannafin now. So they asked, are the Rangers the one that Vancouver is worried about them? That's. I mean, if Friedman did say that in that clip, I didn't get to listen to that entire clip. I kind of caught it like at the end. I turned on the TV. But if that's what was said, then yeah, you would have to wonder if the Rangers are the real favorites then for him.
I wonder, as I said before, Colorado still has cap space, so I don't know why they would be out or considered not in it. I still wonder about Colorado.
Do they really need another winger, though?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think for Colorado, it's just trying to load up and be able to compete with Vegas and Vancouver and some of the other teams out west that. I mean, Colorado made big moves too, but I mean, Noah Hannafin is obviously a tremendous move for Vegas. And then Colorado, you want to keep them from getting Guentzel. Maybe you get involved yourself, but I mean, yeah, for me, Colorado, the Rangers, Vancouver, Florida, and Vegas, probably not so much anymore. Those are probably the 3 for me, if I'd take a guess. I also wonder about Stevie Y coming out of left field. I know sometimes he doesn't stray from the Yzer plan, but his team looks to finally make the playoffs again. They have a good thing with DeBrincat, and I mean Larkin's out now for a couple of weeks, but Kane, and I just wonder if Yzerman can get involved here and Jake Guentzel, the sneaky move. They have the assets. They have the picks. They have the prospects.
They do. I just wonder how much Yzerman believes in this team, and to what extent does he think that they could do damage in terms of, like, does he think that they can win a playoff round or 2? Does he think that they can make a surprise appearance in the conference finals? Like that's really what I'd imagine that Yzerman is weighing.
I mean, for me, the thing with the Red Wings is their goaltending. I mean, right now, Husso's been out, but Alex Lyon's your guy. I mean, I know he got really hot last year and got the Panthers into the playoffs, but is Alex Lyon going to be the guy that gets you there?
No, He's not the guy. He is definitely not that guy. Then again, we looked at Aiden Hill and we thought that that he was nothing, and then he ended up winning. Yeah, Emily, Molly Walker retweeted Emily Kaplan's tweet about the Weeks trade, the Weeks 3 teams proposal. But that retweeting doesn't really mean a whole lot to me. Doesn't mean a whole lot. She's just kind of agreeing with it, not really adding a comment or anything to it. I would like to see. Oh, I mean, you know what? We're at 8:05 p.m. right now, and Jay's saying that your boy is saying something.
Yeah, I just saw the spot he did on NHL Network, but I also just texted. I was just texting with him, and seems like it's still possible that the Guentzel deal could happen tonight. Still a lot of teams that are in it. Pittsburgh's still evaluating offers. He made a good point though. Guentzel, it's Guentzel and his agent seem that they're not going to sign. They're not going to sign he's not going to sign an extension with the team he's traded to. I mean, it maybe eventually at the end of the year he might, but he's not committing to sign an extension with the team that trades for him. So that that may eliminate some teams. Like the Hurricanes typically don't do that. I mean, Vegas doesn't care, I don't think. The Rangers, Drury likely doesn't either. So I think that's an advantage to the Rangers. I think for them, trading for him, knowing that he might just be a rental is okay. But, I mean, me personally, though, if you trade for Jake Guentzel to the Rangers, you give up Brennan Othman, and then and then Guentzel walks and you don't win at all. Then it turns into a trade where people are going to start to maybe question why he did it or should he have done it, and that's a conundrum that he has to weigh. He'll have to face that criticism
Absolutely.
if he trades for Guentzel as a pure rental and they don't win it.
Absolutely, but here's the flip side of that. This is the best team the Rangers have seen in 30 years in terms of record at this point.
Yeah,
and this is a wide open year. And now you have teams that are coming along and making their big moves to make their stand, to make their push to get to the top. Like your Colorado made big moves. Vegas made big moves.
Yeah.
Florida made a big move. How do you compete with those teams? You go and you make a move. And if Drury doesn't make a big move, he's also going to get criticized for that. So he's in a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. So at this point, if that's the case, why not just make the move?
Yep. No, you're right.
That would be my line of thought as a general manager. I'm going to get heat one way or another. If I don't win, if this team doesn't win, and that's very possible. There's only one team that can win the Stanley Cup.
Yep.
If he gets to the Stanley Cup Finals with that move, I don't think he takes as much heat.
Yeah, because then you went almost the distance, so it's kind of it's worth it in a way. So yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, just like you said earlier with Vetrano, Ranger fans would hate seeing Vetrano on the Islanders. I got to tell you, I would hate to see Jake Guentzel on the Rangers. I mean that would make them a legitimate threat.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's again, it really just comes down to whether or not how much extra of a price the Penguins is going to try to make the Rangers pay for trading for him, and is Drury comfortable with it? And I guess we'll find out, right? Whether he either gets traded to the Rangers or he doesn't, and you just assume that maybe the price was too high. But on the flip side, if you're the Rangers, you don't want to see Jake Guentzel go to the Hurricanes. because
No, and
that team
and
already
that's
gives
the
the
other
Rangers fits.
Yeah, and that's the other thing that was brought up earlier on by I forget who brought that. Was it Pan Yoda that brought that up? And it said one of the oh no, it was Adam Herman's tweet. Was it Adam Herman's tweet? No.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it might have actually been Adam Herman's tweet. So he was saying basically that you don't want to put too much stock into it, but part of getting Jake Guentzel is that someone like Carolina or Florida or Boston or someone like that doesn't get Jake Guentzel. Not only are you adding the guy that's going to be the big goal scorer for your team, you're taking him away from another team and in doing that. So, but Johnny Red, I get where you're coming from, but this is not that type of deal, my man. The deals that got the Rangers in trouble were the Zubov and Nedved for Robitaille and Samuelson deals, and then the Ferraro, Nordstrom, LaPerriere, and Lafayette for Churla, Curry, McSorley deal. These deals are nothing alike. Those deals hurt. Those two deals specifically really hurt the Rangers. And yeah, they probably dealt Ferraro because they thought, from what I've heard, and I'm only going on hearsay, is the Rangers were close to getting a deal done for Gretzky by the 96 deadline. They wanted Gretzky. And that's why they dealt. That's part of why they dealt Ferraro away. I don't know how true that is, but they were close to getting a deal done for Gretzky. And I think they may have pivoted for Curry, who wasn't really even a natural center, when that deal fell apart. But those two deals set back the Rangers because you lost the number 2 center. You lost a real good defenseman in Matthias Nordstrom, who ended up being a rock defensively for 10 plus years. You ended up losing LaPerriere, who would have been a real good depth forward for another 10 and 15 years after that. So there was a lot of losses in that deal, and then obviously you lose a Hall of Fame defenseman in Zubov, and then Peter Nedved because they got bullied by Philadelphia in '95. Mm-hmm. So those are the types of deals that screwed this team over. Not sending a prospect, a first, and maybe Capo Caco to Pittsburgh for Jake Guentzel. Ooh, a little interesting career comparison. 583 games right now for Nylander, 515 points. And he's not very far away from his father's point totals, and his father played far more games.
Steve, I would just allude to this with Guentzel. Steve Yzerman, I think he when he took over the Red Wings, he had a plan, and he even though the Red Wings looked to be a playoff team, I don't know if he's going to divert from his plan and trade assets when he knows that maybe they, don't have much of a shot of going far. So I wonder how active Steve Yzerman will be. I truly do. I don't think he wants to sacrifice any of the future for, especially a rental. So I think a guy like, like, for instance, when he traded for DeBrincat this past offseason, he was under team control, right? He was an RFA.
Yes.
I feel like that's the type of move he would make because he controls that player's future, but I don't know if he's going to sell off assets for any kind of rental. That's just my opinion, but, maybe I'm wrong, and we'll find out in the next 2 days.
Yeah. Listen, I'm with you on that. I don't think he's going to mortgage the future in any such sort of way. But if you go ahead and make a deal and you want to kind of advance this team along and get them to win a playoff round or two, You know, that goes a long way for the franchise too. And that's something that Yzerman's going to have to weigh in his own mind. But this guy built up 2 championship teams in Tampa Bay. So if I'm a Red Wings fan, I have total faith in this guy. Brisebois may have been the general manager for those 2 titles. But you got to remember, Yzerman put that entire team together, not Brisebois. Yzerman was the guy that was the mastermind behind putting everything together and putting everything in place. Not trying to take away anything from Brisebois.
Yeah. No, I don't. From what I understand, that first off, Zegras is still hurt, but I don't think Anaheim is in any rush to trade him right now. I mean, maybe it's a move that could happen in the offseason, but I don't see Trevor Zegras being traded at the deadline this year. Again, anything can happen. Maybe I'm wrong, but the sense I get is that Trevor Zegras is staying put. But if you guys want to see me tomorrow and not get killed by my wife, I gotta go get my daughter to bed. This way, when she comes home from work, she's not still up playing. So I gotta go run, put her to bed, do my daddy duties. Phil and I are both available during the day tomorrow. So if another Ranger trade or Islander trade breaks sometime tomorrow, we'll be back on, or even tonight, right? If something goes down tonight.
Yeah, I'm available tonight. If something happens,
we'll try to get back up and talk about it. But yeah, I gotta run now and take care of that. Phil, obviously, you continue to keep going. I mean, we're holding strong at 333 people, which is amazing. Thank you all very much. But yes. I'm going to step off right now.
Take care, Anth.
You got it.
Yeah, I still haven't eaten yet, so I'm going to step off myself. I appreciate that. This has been an awesome stream. It's been really good. The viewership shot up through the roof. Everybody's on looking to see if there's trade breaks. This is great. Love it, but I'm probably going to step off myself. So sorry to do that, but I've got to eat something here. So if big trade ends up happening, we'll hop back on. We'll do another stream. So, but keep your we will be back on Friday, trying to have a time figured out. And as soon as we do, we'll announce it on our Twitter. And we'll also announce it on the Facebook group page as well. So thank you all for joining us. We appreciate it. You have a good night, and let's go Rangers and hope they make a nice deal. Take care.